The Marvel's Avengers Cosmic Cube event is here, and we finally got some new updates for you. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts, impressions, and a little bit of review of what I thought about the Beating the Odds villain sector, so I got that episode for you guys right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. Good to see you and good to have you here on the show today. It's a fun day, isn't it? We got more Marvel's Avengers content out there for you, and I'm going to be giving you my full thoughts and rundown and impressions of the brand new Cosmic Cube event and the whole villain sector that they unleashed on us, and the boss battle with Monica that was quite a challenge, if I may say so. If you guys enjoyed this video all the way through, do me a favor, if you do, consider subscribing to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of the villain sector and what we got out of this for the Beating the Odds and that boss battle itself. So we've had issues when it comes to this update with the event, as well as the patch 1.8, where we had, obviously I talked about in the previous episode, where, you know, our IP addresses were showing on PlayStation 5. Yeah. That's been fixed. Got in there, played the event. Here's my thoughts. Beating the Odds villain sector, I thought was done very well, considering what we've had for other DLC content from Kate Bishop as well as Hawkeye that run you about 2 hours. They're supposed to be story driven. I found them to be pretty much a letdown in a lot of ways. So my expectations for this, fairly low, and this whole event. I wasn't expecting to be blown away by anything that was going to be game changing or revolutionary, but I did thoroughly enjoy the villain sector that we got. It's basically taking some of the elements in the beginning from Snowy Tundra and kind of flipping it on its head, giving you a little bit more to work with. Now, if you want to mainline this whole thing from beginning to end for this villain sector, it's going to take you anywhere from maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes to 30 minutes for the actual whole piece of getting to Monica to get to the boss battle. The boss battle itself could take you anywhere from 15 minutes to like 50 tries over and over again if you continuously die like Matt did. Yeah, I suck. What I liked about the actual Beating the Odds villain sector itself was how it progressed. You're getting out into the open world of what we know when you actually land, and being able to fly around. I thought that the amount of loot that was available was good. I thought that what you were collecting was good. It was strong. It was of value to you. And as you were progressing through this entire chain, I didn't feel like I was just rinse and repeat the same hallways. They provided enough difference between each section within this villain sector to keep it fresh and to keep you kind of entertained and focused on what you were trying to complete. It was really refreshing from the events in the past where it really feels like you were just going down through the elevators and through the same hallways and beating up everybody that's exactly the same. Yes, it is still more AIM robots, but it feels like we're actually tightening up this story to move on to War for Wakanda Expansion. In some of the sections and some of the moments in this game, you are progressing to actually kind of break down the entire casing of the cube itself. And you are going to go over to these different pads that we're used to in previous missions, that you're going to stand on the pad and go around to multiple pads to be able to get control of them. And then it kind of takes it up a notch though, because we have massive waves of villains that you have to take down at the same time. It's just challenging enough for you that you don't feel overwhelmed, but you find that there's a lot going on, which is good. And you have to constantly keep moving around depending on your character to be able to do range attacks or close combat, and being able to get to a point later on to actually kind of break apart the encasing of the Cosmic Cube. What's good about this event and this villain sector is that it feels like the Red Room takeover challenges slightly, and that they took cues in what was kind of good and working for that and built it into this expansion piece, into this content. It allowed for you to play as different characters and different heroes and made it feel fresh and different enough depending on who you were playing, so that it actually forced you to change your style and your approach based on who you're playing. So I give them kudos for that it felt different when I was trying to play as Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, and Cap, who I tried out for all of this. I felt like I had to take a different approach for each. But if you do have like any of your ground characters, Black Widow, Cap, for example, you could be able to actually get through this pretty well, but you're probably gonna get swarmed by a lot of enemies too at the same time. So now we get into the actual fight with Monica, and you're fighting the Scientist Supreme here. Okay, so this took me like 50 tries and Googling it when it first came out, because I was having such a hard time to figure out the timing for Monica's power as she's shielded, and when that goes away, she's gonna come at you with a timer going down and counting down. And once it hits 0, she's going to throw out a full energy blast from the cube that is going to kill you instantly. So if you're standing in plain sight, like I did a few times, I died automatically. What I didn't like about this was that, number one, I thought that the actual clock that they used, the countdown clock, should have been a little bit more visible, because as there is so much going on in those moment to moments at the boss fight, you got 10 seconds to try and throw what you got at her, trying to bring her down a bit. And then there is no real, like, the clock I wish was actually pulsating or making more noise or something to remind me that I'm almost out of time. This created a good challenge because you had to be able to move quickly. And all you had to do then at some point is make sure you were hiding behind the pillars that we have within the mission. So this whole boss battle, I'm gonna say that it is good. I thought it was very solid and well put together and well crafted, and it was different. What I like is that it is different from the other boss battles we've seen in the game so far. I like that we were actually getting Monica's cube versions, her energy versions of herself, and she's multiplied herself within this. So you and the other heroes are having to take down multiples of her that are using all different types of attack from energy and wind, and they're actually trying to take you down in a different way versus just trying to beat a giant brute or you're trying to beat up Taskmaster. I thought that this was done a lot better, and it made for a longer boss battle that I think allowed you to do a lot more with it. I felt like if I was Iron Man and flying around, I was utilizing the entire space. I could use range attacks as well as close range attacks, melee, and trying to take down all the enemies. But again, what I thought didn't work so well was just the instant death and permadeath. And that got really old, because if I wasn't perfectly behind the pillar, if I was exposed at all, then I was going to be dead instantly. The other bad part about this was that the AI and your companions. You are fighting Monica, and you and your team are chucking every laser beam and hammer and everything you got at her. And as her bar is slowly going down, I would go and I would run and hide behind a pillar, but nobody else would. The AI wasn't smart enough to retreat or anything or follow me. So then you're left instantly to have to go and revive all of them as she's coming back again for the next round. So this was one area that I think that they should have tried to correct in some way, either by changing her power or not having just kind of instant kill everybody. I understand you're trying to make her the big baddie and all of that, but I thought that it took away a little bit because I had to constantly revive my team. There's only odd moments in there where I was able to get really close to her, start blasting her with lasers and everything in my unibeam, and then the odd time it would just down me and I would have a teammate revive me. My one tip for you is don't do that, because you are more than likely going to end up just going full permadeath and it restarts the entire thing. This would be the only other criticism I have about this boss battle, is I wish that as you were progressing through the boss fight with her, that if you hit these checkpoints, because it is a long boss battle. And trust me, I got this so many times where I was getting into what was the final round of this, and I could not beat her fast enough, and all the pillars were destroyed. I had nowhere to hide, and so I was killed instantly again. And I'd have to start the entire boss battle over again. This happened numerous times. Again, Matt's bad at video games. It's my problem. You're probably sitting there going, hey, dum-dum, I finished this thing in 20 minutes. I don't know what you're complaining about. Do better. I agree with you. I will do better, sir or ma'am. The entire beating the odds villain sector itself has replay value. That's what I'm happy about. I'm happy that I can go back, and if I don't want to do the boss fight with Monica again, which I probably won't unless I am just completely overpowered and can destroy her instantly, I like that there is a lot to explore. There's a lot of loot in there, a lot of chests that I can actually open up and explore. For the first round or two, I was trying to just mainline it, which, like the other ones and other DLC and everything, you can just go through in this main sector and beeline all the way to the end, kill off everybody that you need to, and move on to the next checkpoint. You can do all of that, but there is a lot to explore in the opening moments of this, which is good. It's going to keep people coming back. And with that, we have that update too, remember, of the mega hives actually getting changed so that they're going from having to do, 8 levels down to 4, which is really, really great. It's going to save us a lot of time. They're more impactful, get you in, get you out, and you don't feel like you're spending an entire afternoon just trying to do these mega hives. So I'm glad that that's changing along with this event. And lastly, with the actual event itself, with the Cosmic Threat event, this thing is running from June 24th all the way through to July 8th, that you can go in and play through all of these different sectors, and they are going to have small modifications and changes and tweaks to them. based off this Cosmic Cube event. So like the Red Room Takeover, where those were just specifically just all red rooms within the helicarrier, that's the actual event for Cosmic Cube Takeover. That is actually going to open it up to other villain sectors, and we're going to see slight changes and tweaks to that. Freshens it up, makes it a little bit more unique and exciting for us to jump in and play. And the final thing, everybody, is the one thing that I'm excited to grab, and I'm going to grab it right after this episode, is I'm grabbing the Captain America MCU skin that is releasing today alongside the event. Very excited for that. Yes, it is more cosmetics, but I'm glad that they have done a ton of updates. I'm glad they fixed the IP issue that landed them on the first day. That's unfortunate. That's terrible for streamers for the game. And again, like I said in the other episode, it puts a bad taste in players' mouths that we're excited for this event. But if you take that aside, it has been fixed. Just looking at this Cosmic Threat event and the Cosmic Cube Takeover, do I recommend you jump into this if you're hesitant? The answer is yes. If you can look through at the Cosmic Cube boss battle with Monica, if you can get yourself powered up enough, and if you can remember to hide behind the pillars and time it out properly, you're going to enjoy the challenge that you have. It's worth going in for a lot more loot. I think that the reward is good, and they are freshening this thing up going through to mid-July with this event. From there, we get Patrol, and after that, we're getting the Wakanda expansion coming into August. This is going to lead, hopefully, for a large War for Wakanda expansion. So I'm excited to see how far the War for Wakanda piece will take us going into the fall. I think that Square has learned a few good things from releasing previous DLC. I feel like this was a little bit more well thought out and well crafted, and I feel like they could actually release more of these types of villain sector events on almost a monthly basis if they can get the momentum and get it right. That will get fans to come back for more and play more, as knowing that they are going to get a different MCU, a different Marvel villain to play with, to fight against. That will keep fans interested, even if they're changing up the maps here and there. What did you all think of the Cosmic Cube event, the Cosmic Cube Takeover? What did you think of that? What did you think of the updates that we saw? Captain America's MCU skin, if you picked that up, let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about this. Thank you all so much for subscribing and checking out the channel today. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. More episodes coming at you, more Marvel's Avengers content as it comes out. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I'm Matt on Assemble, and as always, thank you all for assembling with us. See ya!